Welcome, brethren, once again to our study of the message of the hour. The Elijah message, as predicted, would come to the church in Malachi 4, verse 5. And also, you can find the message that was to be of the hour, and that is found in Micah 6:9 and Micah 7:14. Hear ye the rod, and feed my people the rod. So we have a rod message that is supposed to come to our church, and indeed did come. And so what we're going to do today is look at the symbolic charts that the message brings, and just kind of give a brief description of each chart. And you'll just be hopefully enlightened and really amazed at the Lord's work that He's given us, the prophecies that He's shown us in these last days, right before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. This is so great to know this and to be able to look at it and really appreciate the love that the Lord has through His prophecies for us. So before we begin, we always ask the brethren to kneel and pray and ask the Lord for the promise of the Spirit of truth, that He may guide us into all truth. And that, of course, is found in John 16:13. And, the reason why we bring that up so many times is because one of the greatest faults and one of the greatest weaknesses of Christians is that they think they can learn things on their own. They think that they can understand everything by their own reasoning. Well, it's not the case. The case is that the Lord has to give us, and it's a gift. It's not guaranteed. Just because you become a Davidian Seventh-day Adventist, just because you become a Seventh-day Adventist, just because you become anybody of a Christian denomination, you don't necessarily have the Spirit of truth. It is a gift. And there's conditions for that gift, and that is obedience. We have to obey the Lord. We have to obey His commandments. And it's this way He gives us this gift, and we can be assured that when we do a study or, like understanding of different prophecies and such, we're gifted with this gift. And so we really appreciate that. And so let us begin now. This is the site that we have. It's called the Pre-11th Hour Ministry. And of course, you can join us here anytime you'd like, pre-11thhourministry.org. And you have the different sections here: home, about us, charts, literature. Here's some of the literature here. We're working on the videos and the blog, those areas that we're working on those. We hope to have them up very soon. All right, so these are the literatures, but we won't be discussing that today. We want to go back down into the charts. These are timely greetings, by the way. Those are the sermons that Brother Victor Hodoff gave, and we can get into that sometime soon. Okay, we'll scroll down a little bit. That's symbolic codes. Those are the newsletter magazine messages that were sent out during his lifetime. Jezreel letters. Those are very nice. Those are specific letters, and it's a tract form that was sent out to the Seventh-day Adventist leaders about this message. All right, brethren. So I guess I've got to go here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so when you first hit the charts section, you notice there's a little delay. We have to load the charts. It's going to take a bit. There we go. Okay. So we've got, they start to load one by one. Your computer may be a little faster than mine. I don't necessarily have the greatest and best computer in the world, but it gets the job done. All right, so let's start here with the first chart, and this is called the seven churches. All right, so as we can see, this is the chart that was made, and this one concerns Revelation chapters 1 to 3. We're, as Christians, we're all familiar with 1 to 3 chapters. They go over the church and the different parts of the church message that the Lord gave. But anyway, this is a pictorial representation of that section of the Bible, and it's really a beautiful thing to see the symbols uh, and correlation with reading it. You get a good understanding. All right, this is the seven trumpets. And of course, we can find that in Revelation 8, 6 to 13, 9, 11 to 14 19. And each one of these are God's lessons given down through humanity. You'll see here the seven trumpets reveal as an object lesson to our generation the destruction of those who, in their own generations, have rejected present truth. So, everyone of the generations down through time had specific present truth, and the seals go into the destruction of those that did not receive the seal. So, this is a very enlightening study. You know, if you go through the seven trumpets. Of course, you have, you know, the first is Noah's message, the second, Exodus movement, third, the advent of the Bible, fourth, the kingdom subjugated by Babylon, fifth, the advent of Christ, his death, his followers. The sixth trumpet is the messengers, medieval Babylon, 200 million heavenly host, spirit-filled preachers, the message, the followers, the time of the harvest, the seventh trumpet, close of probation, the plagues. So we see that this angel right here, the seventh, is pointing to the close of probation. He's telling that this is it. There's no longer time for probation. And of course, they have after that the 1,000-year millennium. And this is a very enlightening chart here. All right, this is the world's history in prophetic symbols. And of course, you know, you have the antediluvian world, the flood, and then of course Babylon and Medo-Persia, and all these different symbols. It's quite enlightening, you know, when you look at it, and you have to really do some in-depth studying here to know what this chart is. But it's a seven universal systems, so it points to. It can get a little bit complicated, but if you study it out, you'll figure it out. Of course, you have the fall of Rome here, and the fall of Echelation Rome, the termination of the 42 months. Church Federation. Here, we'll get into that a little more in the future here in one of the other charts. This is when the image of the beast appears, and that's when the federation of the church and state come together. And of course, you have the second resurrection here, and then the holy city. Very fascinating. Ceremonial harvest, and this is quite illuminating. Got the first fruits, second fruits of the dead. So this is the first fruits of the section here, and then you've got the 1844, and you've got the wave sheaf being shown, and living of the first fruits here. And then you've got the wave loaves, which is the 144,000, and the second fruits. for understanding this chart, they've got the references, so you can take the time to look at the references. As we go through these, brethren, many of these charts are quite extensive. There's not real some of them are not real simple, and they're more in depth. So it takes time to learn this, and we're just giving you a brief overlay of it. And when the time comes and people are ready, they can go into a deeper study on each one of these charts. Now, this is the well-known Daniel 2 chart. We've actually done videos on this, and many brethren have. This is pretty clear in the message, and it has a lot to do with us right now and living in our days. This prophecy right now is very much being fulfilled, except for when the stone has been cut out. Of course, that's the Ezekiel 9 church judgment. That has not occurred yet. But this is a prophecy that we are going to be experiencing very, very soon, we believe, with the events around the world. Now, this is one of my favorites, as many of you have watched some of our videos. I've said before. This is a harvest period and the close of probation. And of course, this gives us a timeline of events that happen down through time. And it's quite illuminating. Of course, you can read each one of these little helpful descriptions. And but we do a lot of posting this chart for our different presentations. It does come in handy. All right, this is the truth and the host underfoot, Daniel 8. Now, if you want to know more as far as Daniel 8 goes, this is the chart to study in conjunction with that. And Daniel 8 is a very fascinating study as well. Look at all the detail that the message brings on this chart here. Fascinating. This is the one that is very illuminating as well. In the heart of the earth, you see the problem with the Lord's being 3 days and 3 nights is that many don't understand this term, in the heart of the earth. This is inclusive of the time that Jesus was arrested. You see, the people think that that's just in the grave. Well, the period actually started, as this chart shows, Thursday. And this is the old clock based on the Roman time at that time. But there's the different references. You can study this out. But this gives a clear pictorial representation of the 3 days and 3 nights. Okay, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the nights, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday. So this is a very handy chart to explain that. Now, this is the flood study. Brother Jimmy Kokori, some of you may know him. He's a brother that's been in the message for quite many years, has a great video. In fact, we're going to go ahead and post in the link Jimmy's video on the flood. This is one of the most explained videos you'll ever find on this subject of the flood. And there's a meaning behind that. Many people don't understand that. Of course, if you're present truth believers, you want to learn all you can about this message. And so there's a type and an antitype for this flood. And well, again, we'll post this in the description box, and you can watch that video. Very fascinating, brother. The tremendous knowledge and symbolism and mathematics all behind this flood study is just a great thing to behold. Now, this is the Hosea 1 and 2 prophecy. Of course, this is the Old and New Testament church history depicted by one family. So as Seventh-day Adventists, we should know this. Of course, the pastors and leaders of our church don't explain this at all. They have rejected the Elijah message sent to the church, just like the Pharisees have rejected Christ's message to the church. We're repeating the same thing. But this pictorial representation shows Jezreel, Loruhama, Loamini, Jezreel, Ruhama. I mean, this is just a fascinating study, brethren. Again, you can find this in our literature. It's based on, I believe it's Tract 2, if I recall, the latest news from Mother. And it's fascinating, another fascinating study. Now, this is the church to and back from the wilderness. Again, this is based on his prophetic history by unmistakable symbols, the South Country, the North Country, and this is based on Zechariah 6, 1 to 8. This is the pictorial representation of that prophecy. Again, another fascinating study. Briefly, this is the SDA church, and it's being guided by two sets of horses. This set right here wants to go to the South Country, which is the current Seventh-day Adventist church leadership wanting to go the wrong way, South Country. This set of horses here want to go to the North Country, the right way. And of course, we know this is the Present Truth ministers, the Present Truth members that are proclaiming the message. There are these horses right here. They want to go the right direction, but they're hitched, and we can't really go anywhere. We're stuck until the Lord comes in and cuts these traces, cuts these ropes here, and then the church, the purified Seventh-day Adventist church, will be able to go out into the world. And in fact, here's the rest of the path. You can see it going all over the world. So that's the goal, and that's the lesson of Zechariah 6, 1 to 18. This is the living church. Of course, this one is based on Revelation 12, 1 and 14. Another beautiful chart. This is at the 11th hour. Now, we just did a video on our other station, and it was quite well received. We were surprised how many views we had on that. And this is based on the parable, the parable of Matthew 20. There was messages coming to the church, and we would do well to study this, brethren. This is a very, very good study, and quite illuminating as well. All right, this is the temples. This is the one based on a lot of these references right here, and you can see that Brother Hodeff copyrighted these charts so that people would not, add and subtract to them. So each one of these charts were copyrighted by Victor Hodeff, and again, another fascinating chart. All right, this is holding the four winds back. Of course, we see the angels ready to do destruction, but this angel's coming in and saying, hold, hold, as they have a job to do, and that is to seal the servants of our God, the 144,000. So all these angels are the four corners. The four angels in the four corners are holding back the winds, and of course, these angels want to be ready at the Lord's command to go forth and execute judgments. Well, they're not doing that until this section right here, the first fruits, are sealed. Okay, and then once they're sealed, then they're going to be allowed to go forth into the world to do the judgments that God deems as right. And of course, we have the great multitude that this group right here is going to call out from the world. That's the job of the 144,000, to call the great multitude into the kingdom, and that will be based in Israel in the end times. You can find that Isaiah 2, verse 2 to 3. All right, and this is the harvest. This is based on Matthew 13. Again, when you can get time, you can go over each one of these references to get a little bit more detail about the chart. This is the Church and the Dragon, based on Revelation 12. Very fascinating, particular timely study. This is a prophecy that's about to soon to be fulfilled in all its particulars. Revelation 12. You can see the dragon here, and the woman, and all the different references that will help explain all this. All right, let's see. This is the investigative judgment, the seven seals. Very fascinating. Seven trumpets. All right, brother. And I think we're starting to go into a repeat. I believe we covered all these already. So we'll go ahead and remove ourselves from this part of the section here. And again, if you want to go into this website, you can find the tracts and all the tracts right there, and all the basic literature that you need. This is the Shepherd Rod tract. Now remember, there's a Shepherd Rod 1 and 2, but this one happens to be the tract. And Entering Wedge, which is about health. And Leviticus, this gives some good information about the rules and regulations of the Davidian Seventh-day Adventist. This one's very handy, brethren. This 1950 General Conference Special. This one talks about the Elijah to come. It gives you good information about who that Elijah to come is. This is the fundamental beliefs and directory. This gives the fundamental beliefs of the Davidian Seventh-day Adventist. So we can see a lot of information here. The answer, now these were tracts that put together, 5 of them, and Brother Hodoff answered the questions coming in from the field. So in other words, at that time there was a lot of questions about this message, and Brother Hodoff in a very organized form put the questions and answers together in these books. So you can be really enlightened by reading the answer. These are the Timely Green sermons that the prophet gave during his lifetime. These are based on the sermons he gave in the chapel, and that was based in Mount Carmel Center. That was the headquarters of the work back in Waco, Texas. Symbolic codes, again, those were newsletters that had the message sent out in the field. This was sent through the mail to the different members at that time, back in the 30s, 40s, and I believe early 50s. These codes were sent out. Jezreel letter, again, those are the letters that he penned to the SDA leaders. That's specific letters to the SDA leaders talking about the message and kind of warning. This was based on a lot of warnings to the leaders because they were the one responsible for holding this message back. We have to remember, they were the one responsible, and they had to be warned, and that's what that prophet did. He warned the leaders of the church. All right, again, the blog will be brought up very soon. You can reach us here, pre-11th-hour at Gmail. That's our address as well. And so that concludes this study, brethren. We hope you've been blessed. Just shed a little bit more light on the charts. Basically, these charts are so beautiful. And we're going to finish with a quote. I'm going to grab it real quick. All right, that can be found in Shepherd's Rod Volume 2, page 288. Written words can be misconstrued, but symbols cannot. Excuse me, brother. Thus making it possible for both learned and unlearned to immediately distinguish the difference between truth and error. That's found in 2 Shepherd's Rod, page 288. Again, let us read. The written words can be misconstrued, but symbols cannot. thus making it possible for both learned and unlearned to immediately distinguish the difference between truth and error. This is one of the reasons why these charts are made, brethren, is because when you look at the symbols, you can't misconstrue them like you can words. And fortunately, the enemy has decided a long time ago to twist the words of the Lord. And the written word is no exception. He can, even today, we see this among some of our so-called present truth believers. They take clear words from the message and they try to twist it around, trying to say it means something else. Just like Satan did back with Eve, right? God did not say that. In other words, the plain testimony is twisted around to make it into a different message. So we have to be on guard. Well, once again, we thank you, brethren, for joining us, and may you continue to study and be guided into all truth. That is our prayer. Take care.